Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Boland. Thank you all for joining me. So I want to get into this situation here that happened in Texas. I think it's SB Bill 17 that essentially bans equity, equality, and diversity on the college campuses. And it's essentially what it's saying is that, look, we are not going to bring in students simply because of their race or because of their gender or whatever. We're going to bring you in based on merit alone. Have you earned this position? Okay. So evidently, obviously, a lot of people are upset about that. You know, a lot of people are upset about that. Some of the students are upset about that. You have some people and staff that are going to, what I'm hearing, are going to lose some jobs that help to facilitate this kind of movement on the college campuses in Texas. But then you have some on the right that says this is a good thing. So what do I think about it? I'm gonna read a portion of this article, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think about this. So quite naturally, this has caused some serious situations here. I'm gonna read you the title of this article. It's from KERA. It's KERA, KERA. An interesting news source here. Stripped away, UNT students of color, DAC or DACA recipients, see resources ebb after DEI ban takes hold. Says, for students like Rayvon Bray, they always start off, when it's a liberal article, it seems to always start off with a person, right? They're good with doing that because what they're trying to do is get to your emotions. Forget about the broader atmosphere. They're trying to get to your emotions by saying this particular person is suffering discrimination, that they're so hurt that this is happening to them. They're trying to appeal to your emotions. But let's go on. For students like Rayvon Bray, the Multicultural Center at the University of North Texas was like a second home, a place to meet friends, play games, and share experiences as part of the Black gay community. Now, Bray said, all that has been taken away. We didn't really know that it was being stripped away from us until the week before Christmas break, and we just had to suddenly figure out how to go about things, Bray said. I mean, maybe you should go about things like you always have. Before this was initiated, before, they started doing these safe spaces, and, what was you doing before then? Did you go to school or did you stay out of school? I mean, what was you doing then? Was you studying then or before? Well, let's go on. Some UNT students said the new state law that bans diversity, equity, and inclusion programs sponsored by public universities has created confusion. They said they now must deal with the loss of funding, meeting spaces, and resources, in addition to missing what has been a welcoming atmosphere. Senate Bill 17 went into effect on January 1st and prohibits public colleges and universities from making hiring decisions or supporting cultural and student activities based on race, sex, color, or ethnicity. The author of the bill, Senator Brandon Creighton, sent a letter to Texas universities last week reiterating the law's expectations. Creighton said the law is intended to, quote, ensure a merit-based environment where every student, faculty, and staff member can strive for and achieve personal excellence. Creighton added that the letter should serve as a, quote, a reminder that SB 17 encompasses, I may have said as something, but it's SB 17, encompasses stringent enforcement provisions, including the potential freezing of university funding and legal ramifications for noncompliance. UNT was among the first universities to disable programs, including the removal of the Multicultural Center, which housed many student organizations. Bray, a sophomore and president of the Blackout Alliance, said the change has been chaotic. We were majorly funded under the Multicultural Center, Bray said. That's where people were aware that they could come to find us and our members. The Blackout Allegiance is an organization that gives Black LGBTQ plus members of the community a safe space to be able to express themselves, Bray said. Okay, that's all I'm going to read right there. I already get it. I already get the message there. I already get it. I already get the gist of it. I would assume you as well. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to say something about this where he says they can can express themselves. Okay, what about learning? aren't college campuses or school in general are to be places of learning? Is that what it's supposed to be about? Last I checked, correct me in the comment box if I'm wrong, but last I checked, I believe college campuses and schools in general were supposed to be places where you're supposed to learn math, history, science, and all of these types. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a place that's supposed to be all about expressing yourselves and being who you are. Maybe that's what it is, and maybe the school faculty believes that that's the best way to really prepare our young people for the future. Just be yourself. Forget about learning how to think. Forget about learning how to analyze and make decisions on analytical, philosophical way. Forget about all of that. Forget about making decisions. Forget about doing all of that. Forget about having the qualifications and skill sets that you need to get a high-paying job. Forget about that. What's most important is that you express yourself, okay? No. Okay, but first things first, I know that this caused a lot of controversy with some of the students there because as I was hearing, I think it was Greg Foreman, and Black conservative, who I've subscribed to. If you guys have not subscribed to him, I highly recommend you do. He's an awesome YouTube content creator. I overheard some things that he said that were quite interesting about the whole idea of some of these people losing out. They were receiving funding, and now that this is about to be eradicated, if you will, they're not going to be receiving that funding, and some people are going to lose some jobs. Now, I am not for people losing jobs. I hate for something like that to happen. Somebody always takes the downfall when decisions like these are made, regardless of what political affiliation you may be a part of. However, in this particular instance, I'm more concerned about the education of the students. True education, traditional education, the way it should be, have been for quite some time before the infiltration of our country. Now, let me say first and foremost here. Let's get down to the nudie sweet way I see it. First things first, with all this equity and inclusion and all this is nothing more than a soft form of communism. I have said this many times over in previous videos. I emphasize that because that's what I personally believe based on my studies that is going on in our country. All these staff members and all these people that make decisions prior to this bill, SB 17 bill, being initiated, are nothing more than soft communists. The purpose is to keep the division going. When you hear inclusion and diversity, that's just a soft form of communism. Basically, they're saying, let's keep the division going. Let's divide groups and individuals up against each other and pit them up against each other and make them feel like this group hates them and this group doesn't like them. Woo. Keep the tension going. And that way we can create safe spaces for them, which is a bunch of bull crap, right? And, and let them, and that way they can express themselves. But when I was coming up in school, okay, and I'm talking about high school and all the like, when I was coming up, there were people that were gay. There was this one guy that was gay and clearly was gay, and I didn't hate him and I didn't even that. I mean, I knew in my own heart, I didn't agree with the lifestyle. I was a young guy, we don't see it, but I didn't agree with the lifestyle, but we talked all the time. I never persecuted him. I never hated on him. And I don't think most people in the school hated on him. They disagreed with him and they cracked on him. Back then we called it cracking on him. They cracked on him, made fun of him every now and then, But he tended to let it just be like water off a duck's back. He let it roll off. Because most of the time people didn't bother him. He was a talkative, outgoing person, and he didn't need a safe space because he felt like people were persecuting him. You want to know who needed a safe space at that time? This was during I would say the late 70s, early 80s of their time. The people who needed a safe space? White people at that time. Now you may be saying, what do you mean, Mr. Bowling, white people? Because all of the brainwashing and conditioning that's been initiated upon black people, that white people hate you and they want to see you dead and they don't care about you and all white people hate you, right? So when these black people from the hood, from the ghetto, were bussed over into these suburban schools, like Paul Mooney and Paul Revere and Charles Mooney. I've been there. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And they were bussed over there. They had attitudes and dispositions prior to coming over there that they had towards white people. So what ended up happening? I was seeing white people getting mocked. I was seeing white people getting slapped. I was seeing white people getting punched and beat. One particular group, I don't know what the circumstances was behind it. Maybe this white guy said something. I don't know. But I remember coming home from lunch one time and, not home from lunch, but I can't remember. Let me take it back. Maybe rewind it. I don't remember exactly what it was I was doing at that time. I already remember I was going through the hall, going up the stairs, and there was these, about 8 or 9 black teenagers running after this boy through a hallway. When I came through those, run through the hallway, and one particular black boy had a cane. And they would run through the hallway, and the white boy was running, and he was holding his face, and he was crying. And all I heard was, F him up, F him up, F him up. And one particular black guy took his cane and hit the white guy in the back of the head. Now, that wasn't something I seen every day, but I did see that on occasions. And it was always race related. Now, am I saying that maybe perhaps some of those whites there weren't racist? No, some of them could have been racist. But what I was observing, see, I tell you stuff I see. It don't usually have the time stuff I experience and observe was not white people coming against black people because they were black. It was black people coming against white people because they were white. And blacks have been poisoned or brainwashed and conditioned to believe all white people are against you. And every white person is racist and they want the worst for you. They the ones needed a safe space. They didn't have safe spaces back then for white people. But now we have safe spaces for black people today, supposedly in a lot of these woke college campuses. And for what? Are black people being lynched? Are black people being necessarily discriminated against because they're black? What proof or evidence do we have for that in 2024 America? Not much of any, right? If anything, they are preferred over other people who are not black. That I disagree with, okay? It should be a merit-based, as it's always been in the school systems, a merit-based system. True, the school systems are not perfect. They weren't then in the early 1900s and in the late to mid 1800s and in the early 1900s. They weren't perfect then. As a matter of fact, a lot of those schools and universities back then, when you study history, they did discriminate against blacks because they were black. They did not want to allow blacks in there. You had a few that made it in some of them college or those universities, but a lot of them didn't simply because of their race. So they were discriminated against. So that was going on back then. But is that going on today? No, I highly doubt it at all. The school systems have been infiltrated to foster division. Blacks and people of color do not need a safe space. What blacks today that go to colleges need to do, crack open them books and study. That's what you need to do, because guess what? Your ancestors, or those that existed before you that did make it through the colleges, a few that did, you know what they did? They cracked open them books. They studied. They did what they had to do, and they learned math and history and science the way it was supposed to be learned. Now I know, I'm just such a victim, and I need to express myself. That's a bunch of nonsense. What you need to do is learn what you need to be learning so that you can be ready for this messed up world we're living in. This kind of diversity and inclusion stuff is not preparing these young people for this world. If anything, it's dumbing them down so that the elites will have more control over them. That's what it's doing, so that they will become a part of the new world order. It's not a conspiracy theory. I want anybody, it's a conspiracy theory. You need to do your own research. That's been around for a long time, and these elites are pushing for it. And a lot of our young people that are going to these college campuses are nothing more than pawns in the game because they're not aware of the bigger picture. They think that these people on the top are fighting for them. They're not. They're fighting against them. They want you to be dumbed down. They don't want you to understand math. They don't want you to understand science. They don't want you to be able to think. They don't want you to do that. Thinkers are out of the picture. People who read and study and dig, that's out of the picture. Get rid of them. They're the oppressors. Come on, man. Wake up and smell the coffee, please. No, this is ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. No, this is all the safe-based stuff. No, I'm glad that they've done away with that. I hope other schools practice that type of initiation. I hope other schools practice that, because at the end of the day, it's all about learning. And it doesn't matter what race you are, whatever, you need to be going to school to learn, not feel safe and express myself. You can express yourself and still learn how to count. You can express yourself and still know the difference between a male and female. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's good news. Okay. Good. SB 17, if people are upset with that and butthurt, so what? I don't care about that. This is my opinion. This is how I feel. And that's the way it is. It's good that the Texas school did this. Good. I hope other schools follow it, because as black people, we don't need somebody on the outside fostering division between us. We don't need that. What black people need to do is learn how to read and learn how to do basic math and learn the difference between a man and a woman. And y'all get what I'm saying, okay? Not all this other nonsense. You're not going to learn their way. They're dumbing you down. They're making you ignorant. And this has been going on long enough, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. So, yeah, that's what I had to say about it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.